GM, we got the Week 8 DFS review. We are going to go through the slate from a DraftKings perspective. Underdog, we'll look at the pick-ems, we'll check out the Guillotine, and then we will set our sights on Monday Night Football, build a pick-em, do a primetime palooza, and then if we got time and if the contests are up, we will also check out the Week 9 slate on Underdog with a little Battle Royale preview. I'm Pete Overzet. This is the Portfolio Review the day after National Tight Ends Day.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atrophic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, 35 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pipes with me in Russia.
Hey everyone, GM, B-Spurf, what is up, AJ, Big Dan, Rahul, we got Jonathan, Ashton. Oh my God, Ashton, I saw your pick'em in the Discord. One Alec Pierce TD away from like a 6K hit. That's some sick shit, man. Some really sick shit. What is up, Matthew? Does anyone have wide receivers left on their best ball squads? I have not looked. We can take a peek at that later. What is up, Tyler? What is up? FF Doom celebrated the day by cashing all 3 Deposit Kingdom teams with an 8th place finish. Hell yeah, Doom. We'll check out the Deposit Kingdom contest on both Underdog and DraftKings. It's kind of like, when, kids, they're like, why is there a Father's Day? Why is there a Mother's Day? Why isn't there an International Kids Day? That's how other positions are feeling today. Why not wide receiver day? It would be nice to have one of those every once in a while, because apparently it's just running back weeks, running back days, and then the occasional tight end day. What is up, Chris? What is up, Graphic? Offensive lineman day. What is up, Chase? How are we doing? Yeah, that was a bummer. I wasn't heavily exposed to Christian Kirk, but just a bummer for that entire offense, because they need all the help they can get, and losing Christian Kirk is certainly not going to help the offense. Are we finally done with the Tank Dell thing? What do you mean? He scored a touchdown. What more could you want? I'll tell you this. It's not a Tank Dell problem. It is a Texans offensive structure problem, not letting CJ Stroud cook. I mean, there was a 3rd and I think it was like a 3rd and 6 where CJ Stroud took a sack, had Tank Dell wide open on the crosser. Me with my all 22 film, just watching Tank Dell. I don't think Tank Dell is the issue, man. But yes, we can maybe not keep doing the Tank Dell thing. Let's see here. JM just absolutely smashed with his takes. I should have just played the lineup we built on the block party on Friday. Had Cedric Tillman, had Cade Otton on it, obviously, who was chalk. Jameis Winston balled out. I believe we had Achan on there. A really, really good team that we built on the block party. Does ETR still sell that hoodie? I have no clue. I think they still have their store up. Good morning, Paul. Hope dad life is treating you well. Let's pour a coffee here and get rolling. I was struggling this morning. I was tired. So we're going to need a nice big cup of coffee to power us through this show here this morning. All right, let's get right into it. I had those of you who watched the cram on Sunday, we're going through the cram and I'm like, God damn it, I forgot to register for the spy. So I scrambled and was only able to get in the red zone contest. Ended up saving myself $150 because I normally am in 2 to 3 spies. Ended up getting in 3 red zones, assuming I would have gotten in 3 spies and gotten dusted. I saved myself $150. So it pays to late reg, although I am going to make a notification to remind myself to register on time today, or this week, I should say. Let's get this pulled up here on screen, and we can dive in here to these lineup reviews. So I was in very much in on the Texans passing game stuff, which we already kind of were lamenting that not hitting. So I'll read this first lineup that I rolled out in, I believe this was the bigger red zone. Yeah, the 4,500 person red zone, $25,000 up top, $50 buy-in. We did roll out a CJ Stroud double stack with Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz. Our running backs were Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. We also were able to get in Jamar Chase in this lineup. We did go double tight end with Cade Otton. Our pivot wide receiver was, or our punt wide receiver was Jake Bobo at 3,300. And then we played Falcons defense. This lineup was a combination of stuff I wanted to play, namely the CJ Stroud double stack, and then kind of Jake Bobo as the slightly contrarian pivot off of the Tillman chalk. Apparently I should have just played Cedric Tillman. I'll actually review his ownership percentage here in a sec when we look at some of the actually good teams. But this was a lineup that the Sims liked a decent bit after I lock buttoned the CJ Stroud double stack. And one of the reasons I was into it was the projected ownership on it. You know, CJ Stroud comes in at 3%, Dell at just under 10%, Dalton Schultz only 3%. And then we were able to eat a little chalk around it. Obviously, Chase being a popular play without Higgins comes in around 25%. Cade Otton at 42%. It was going to be really hard to win yesterday without eating some chalk. You know, when Cade Otton goes for 30 points at 42%, just going to be a guy you need. Felt good about the Jacobs play. I mentioned this on the cram where, you know, both the Packers and the Texans, and I guess a lot of teams in the league where when you like the passing game, you like the spot for the passing game, there are still plenty of paths where the production could come on the ground. So I kind of liked the idea of playing Jacobs on my Stroud teams and playing Mixon on, I didn't get to Mixon, but Mixon on my love teams, and just saying, is this the way if one of those games, all the production goes through the ground and the other one hits off in my stack, I could really vault to the top of the leaderboards, which was the Jacobs part. He did his job here, almost 30 points at 5% ownership at 6,600. So yeah, not too many takeaways from this lineup. The main stack didn't hit, and I had the wrong punt wide receiver. Needed Tillman here. So not a ton of takeaways for me on that. Let's see what took this down. A team named I Drop the Hammer. Congratulations, I Dropped the Hammer. They had, of course, a Jalen Hurts to Devonta Smith stack. That is a stack we are going to see a lot this morning when we tab through the underdog lineups. They also had Josh Jacobs, but they had Devon Achane. They also had Jamar Chase. They, of course, had Cedric Tillman and Cade Otton. And then the hammer play here, a 1.9% owned Ladd McConkey going for 32 points. Bears D scores 3 points. Doesn't even matter. Look at this lineup. Not a single player outside of the defense under 20 DraftKings points. Just a runaway win. And I hate to say it, but he did drop the hammer in this contest. So yeah, really nice lineup here. Hurts to Devontae, and that Jamar Chase bring back was optimal in a lot of spots yesterday. There ended up being, and we'll talk about it more when we look at the underdog, you know, a lot of landmines in round one. You know, if you drafted Breece Hall, if you drafted Tyreek Hill, you know, these guys immediately precluded you from being able to compete for top prizes, just depending on how you navigated round one. You really needed Mixon. You needed Jamar Chase. Even Derrick Henry couldn't really keep up with some of the other higher scoring players in rounds 2 through 4. All right, let's check out my other lineup. So this one I rolled out in a super small red zone. This one only had 340 teams. This was kind of a blessing. I generally like playing these smaller contests, but I just, for some reason on DraftKings, I never bring myself to do it because I'm always chasing the bigger prize pools. But I wanted to run out a Dolphins onslaught. I thought it was maybe a little upside lacking in the bigger contests. But in this one, I did a Tua, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. So just jamming in all of the underpriced Dolphins here in the Tua return game. I had Travis Kelce, who I really liked as a tight end play. Again, another Jake Bobo share here. Tony Pollard as another one of my kind of contrarian running backs, and then DeAndre Swift as well. Chargers defense. Again, very similar story, kind of hitting on some of the other good pieces. Kelsey, Swift, solid. I probably could have survived Pollard if the Tua stuff went off, but Tua only 14 points. Tyreek Hill, only 13 points, just not going to get it done there from your main stack. Jalen Waddle, only 8.5 points. So main stack doesn't hit. I don't win money. GG, good game. We move on to the next week. Looking at these ownership percentages for small field, because this was kind of, I think, an interesting thing to try to forecast before lock, was just what these ownership percentages were going to come in at. Tyreek Hill, 46% here in this small field contest. And again, this is a really small field one, so it makes sense that these ownerships are going to be on the higher end. Tua at 12%, fine with that. HN at 23%. That ended up being one of the gold star locks on the cram, where I think I even said like HN should probably be like 40% in this spot. For him to drop 26 points while Mostert stole 2 of the TDs is pretty impressive there. And then Waddle at 18%. I think all of these ownership percentages are about exactly what I would have expected in this contest. And so, yeah, it's just not having Cedric Tillman instead of Jake Bobo here. That's a huge swing. How many point swing is that? Let's see this. So Cedric Tillman at the exact same price as Jake Bobo scored 28.9 points. And my fucking Jake Bobo teams had 2.5. So it was like a 26 point difference. Yeah, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. I would have made some decent money yesterday if I just would have not had this Jake Bobo bullshit in my head. We were reviewing the projections on the cram, and it was like Bobo wasn't projecting for that much differently than Cedric Tillman. But man, Cedric Tillman, I'm a much better player than Jake Bobo. So need to think through that Galbraith pivot a little more next time. The winning team here had a Jameis Winston stack. Man, Calvin Ridley on this team as well at 3.8%. He went absolutely nuts. Specifically in the first half. I feel like 80% of his production was in that first half. This team had Winston to Tillman, didn't even have Njoku. I would have assumed most Winston stacks would have been a double or at least had Njoku, but just a skinny here to Tillman. Plays Mixon, HN, Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas, Cade Otton, of course, Broncos D. Didn't quite drop the hammer, but enough to win this smaller contest. Are we done with Breece Hall? I don't think so. I don't think we are done with Breece Hall. I haven't checked out all of the usage stuff in that game. I know he had a couple cracks at a goal line carry, and then they brought in Braylon Allen for the last one. I'm looking at JJ's utilization kind of data dump that he does on Monday mornings. He says Breece Hall's running back shares and target shares over the last 3 games, 86% and 18% week 6, 80% and 23% week 7. And then it dropped in week 8 from 50% to 12%. So it does seem like a slight aberration relative to what he had been doing. And I don't know, this Jets team is still trying to kind of find its footing post Adams trade. I'm not really worried about Breece Hall. It feels like a guy you kind of buy the dip on if the market overreacts going forward. Yeah, there's the Ridley stats. Ridley got 120 yards in the first quarter, but didn't do anything after that. I was tilting that game a little bit. Jahmyr Gibbs was one of my most drafted players on Underdog. He ended up just being kind of like my preferred 3rd round selection. I had a lot of Brock Bowers, a lot of Gibbs. And I was like, oh, baby, Gibbs is going to break the slate when he had that massive touchdown run. And I wrote about this in the recap column on Fantasy Life today, but it's like the Lions are just too efficient. They're so fucking good that David Montgomery can throw touchdown passes to Laporta. Brock Wright scores touchdowns. Khalif Raymond scores 2 touchdowns. Their defense and special teams is too good. Everybody gets a touchdown, but none of them go nuclear. And it's like one of those dynamics. If you're playing in home leagues, it's awesome because everybody has a high floor. Everyone gets a touchdown. But for DFS purposes, like all of their ceilings are capped when they are just this efficient, monster. So yeah, that was frustrating to see all of those touchdowns spread out in a way that kept those guys from being in the winning lineups. Oh yeah, I saw Goff's stat line was absurd. I think it was 85 passing yards, had like 13 pass attempts. And that was he could have had 4 pass TDs if he tossed that one to Laporta instead of Montgomery. Let's look at my last lineup that I made yesterday on DraftKings, and then we'll look at the Deposit Kingdom contest. So my last one was a Jordan Love double stack. I really wanted to play this spot and basically attack the Jags in both directions. Obviously, Josh Jacobs in that other lineup did roll out a Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs. In this one, I had Breece Hall here, Devon Achane, Jerry Jeudy, Evan Ingram, Cade Otton, and Broncos D. So Evan Ingram as the bring back in this game. It was looking pretty shaky for Evan Ingram there for a while. He did get a bailout touchdown at the end to salvage his day. The Cade Otton thing is one where you look at the double-edged sword of hand building versus Sims. And there's, like my hand builder thing was like, I want Jake Bobo. If we're going to play super chalky punt wide receivers, let me go in that direction. The Sim bro in me was like, man, it just keeps jamming Cade Otton into my flex in these more kind of contrarian stacks. And I didn't overrule it. I did not overrule it on that. And I am thankful for that. I mean, it didn't result in me making any money, but obviously having Cade Otton part of 2 tight end builds was a pretty dominant strategy. Yesterday, I just couldn't get the rest of the pieces to come together. Jordan Love, 6.74 points, obviously gets banged up in that game, ends up leaving, and Malik Willis comes in. So Jaden Reed, 7.5 points, never had any chance once Love got banged up. Romeo Doubs was looking fine there for a while, 10.2 points. But again, that main stack just not getting home. Breece Hall, 9.9 points. Jerry Jeudy, 12.9 points. Broncos defense, 7 points. So another ho-hum lineup with the stack not getting there. Let's see what took down this red zone for 10K. Wow, a Mason Rudolph team. Look at that. So lots of different ways. That's kind of one of the interesting things when you compare, the salary cap contest on DraftKings versus Underdog is like when we go look at the Underdog, we're going to see a ton of the same stuff over and over. The Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Mixon or Chase with that stack. On DraftKings with the 9 spots with the salary cap restraints, you're going to see a lot of different paths to first place. We've already looked at a Hurts team. We looked at a Winston team, and now you got a Mason Rudolph team here. Only 4,400. He scores 21 points, which is enough to pay off that salary. Obviously have it stacked up with Calvin Ridley. No bringbacks here on Detroit, just playing that straight as a skinny stack there. DeAndre Swift, Devon Achane, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, Cade Otton, Kyle Pitts. This is a pretty fun lineup. Kyle Pitts, Cade Otton mini in that same game. Those guys combined for over 50 points. Insane. You get a Jamar Chase, AJ Brown mini paying up at wide receiver there with 2 8K guys, and then DeAndre Swift and Devon Achane. So pretty sick lineup there. Some just mini correlations basically in a skinny stack, but I like how that one came together, and a nice big win there for Bobby in the other red zone. Yeah, man, the national tight end stuff. We couldn't escape the broadcast bringing it up every fucking 4.5 seconds. But it was legitimately refreshing to see the tight end position have a banner day. I mean, the fact that it comes on this Hallmark holiday for tight ends is pretty funny, but I mean, it was looking pretty bad for tight ends there for a stretch. So to see all of these guys pop off, it was pretty insane. Like I rounded up the stat lines in my fantasy life column. It was not, and these are just the big names. Like I didn't even get to the random, your Adam Troutmans and stuff who had big days. Trey McBride, 124 yards. Kyle Pitts, 491 and 2. Kelsey goes 490 and a touchdown. Otton, 81, 2 tutties. Kraft, 78 and a tutty. Njoku, 61 and a tutty. Laporta, 48 yards and a tutty. I thought everyone on the cram really wanted me to play Laporta. And I was kind of chuckling when Brock Wright scored a touchdown, but you guys got the last laugh. Laporta did get a touchdown here. Conklin banked a touchdown. Mark Andrews scored a touchdown. Evan Ingram, Dalton Kincaid, and then George Kittle, of course, put a little capper on the holiday with another classic George Kittle monster game, 6, 128 and 1. Let's check out the Deposit Kingdom League here. I had those same 3 lineups that I already showed you guys in this contest. They did not cash. Brandon took it down here with first place. I see our guy BM Merchant here, top 3. Let's take a look at some of these lineups. We had a Winston team take it down. Here was the more kind of classic Winston team I thought we would see more of. Winston to Cedric Tillman and David Njoku. Of course, goes double tight end with Cade Otton. Zay Flowers was a really good play. I was pretty spooked by him coming up to game time as like a game time decision. There was some reporting overnight where Schefter's like, he's going to play. And I don't know if it was Rappaport or Fowler or someone was like, he's a true game time decision. So with the ankle stuff, I was spooked off of it. But at 3.3% here as a bring back, and not kind of paying up for the more expensive Henry as a bring back. I like that. You get 21.5 points from Zay Flowers. And I want to say it should have even been a bigger day. I want to say there was one of those plays where Lamar just overthrew him for what would have been a wide open touchdown. But this team also has Mixon and Achane, which was a pretty nutted combo at running back. And then Broncos defense here. So 204.66 points for Brandon B55. Really nice, solid lineup here. Pretty chalky when you see these percentages in here. Winston 25%, Achane 37%, Chase 24%. That is funny comparing the Achane ownership in Deposit Kingdom, even compared to my other place that I had him here. He was only 22% in this red zone here, 25% in the big red zone. So the Deposit Kingdom crew was enjoying the Achane there. Tillman comes in almost 50%. Holy shit. So you got the perfect confluence of projects well, points per dollar play, JM stamp of approval, all of that good stuff. And Cedric Tillman on almost 50% of rosters. You're not going to like it, but I'm playing Jake Bobo every time at 2% if Cedric Tillman's at 50%. It is what it is. But that's why you guys get to hold up the Jameis Winston W this week, and I'm left crying at my Jake Bobo tears. Tavery 01 rolled out a Bo Nix. Love this. 4.6% Bo Nix did stack it up with Cortland Sutton. Man, that stack hit really well. I had some of that on Underdog, did not get to it on DraftKings, but 50 combined points there, over 50 from Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton. You have Joe Mixon. James Conner doesn't quite fully pay off his price tag, but enough not to sink a lineup. Jamar Chase, Cedric Tillman, Cade Otton, and then Xavier Worthy in the flex there at 1.8% ownership in Chargers defense. So another nice lineup here by T. Avery. And then let's see our guy BM Merchant here. Oh, had a Joe Burrow. So Jamar Chase was so good that it could survive a Joe Burrow here. And then the lad bomb is really what helps this thing really cook here. DeAndre Swift, Achane, Lad, Chase. Oh, and Ridley. Man, nailing Lad and Ridley is some impressive stuff there. Evan Ingram, Cade Otton, Chargers. So, man, everybody, well, I guess not T. Avery, but 2 of the top 3 lineups having that double tight end lineup there. Review 8th place. I got you here. Doom, Tua, Breece Hall, Achane, Lad, Tyreek, Tillman, McBride, Kelsey, Chargers D. So we got the main Miami pieces. I like that. Tua, Achane, Hill. You bring it back with McBride, who has quite the PPR scam day there. 9 receptions for 124 yards. You get that 100-yard bonus as well. Double tight end, but double expensive tight end. The combo ownership on those 2 going to be, I would guess, basically sub 1%, McBride and Kelsey. You eat the chalk with Tillman. You pay up for Breece Hall, who was definitely undervalued for his role. And then you nail Lad McConkey as a one-off mid-range wide receiver Really nice lineup there. Chargers defense as well. A bummer that core stack, you get anything, you get one more touchdown from Tua to Tyreek or their only touchdown, and then you are really cooking there. But man, hit every single other piece. Nice lineup. What do you mean swallow my Lad L? Lad was the cover boy for Hidden Gems. Someone won a Dawg Bowl ticket with the Lad tout. I don't get take lock, Tyler. We just play the best plays unless it's Cedric Tillman at 50%, and then we got to play Jake Bobo. I also am overweight on Lad, so there are no L's to take, unfortunately. I take my L's when I need to, but Lad is not one of them. Let's see here. Any other teams that you guys want to review up here? If you're in the chat, let me know. I told Shady to get the hell out of this contest, and he still was in here. I don't know if Dink. Should we look for Dink? Let's see. Dink. Oh, I didn't see Dink in here. It's nice to hear that he heard us here. Let's see. Who else did we have? Oh, there's my guy, Steampunk Mario. Jameis Winston, Tillman, no Njoku. Okay, Rachaad White. That was a tricky play. Someone brought that one up on the cram. I didn't love it. But Rachaad White at 5,700, 4.4% ownership gets that 16.7 points there. So I like that kind of get two of the Bucks here. One of those little phantom stacks without the quarterback. Don't have to mess around with playing Baker. That looks good. Our Pink, new membership is the Deposit Kingdom contest by invite only. No, it's available for anyone in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. I post the link in there generally on Tuesdays, but the only place the link exists is in the Discord. So you hop in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, link is down below. And then also make sure you go in there and sync your YouTube with Discord. There's instructions in the FAQ how to do it. I can't see right here what membership level you're on, but it'll unlock various channels in the Discord depending on your membership level. But yeah, I always tag everyone in the Discord, and then the Underdog contest goes up on Fridays at 3 p.m. Oh boy, here's Shady. Here's Shady in the contest. What did Shady do? What did Shady do? I do love that Shady only had 2 lineups here. Didn't max it out with 3. Had a Jalen Hurts to Devonta Smith. Ooh, with AJ Brown. So the premium double there. Tillman and Njoku. Cade Otton, of course. Breece Hall, Achane. Nice lineup here. Yeah, both Tillman and Otton allowing you to pay up elsewhere. It almost feels like you shouldn't be able to get in Hurts, Breece, Achane, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith all in a single lineup. So I think they gave Shady an extra $500 in salary cap, which is what I think they do for these DFS influencers. Oh, that's just your second lineup. There were 3. Okay, good. I don't think you win if you don't max that out. All right, here. Sometimes people ask me to look at last place lineup. Do we want to see what last place looked like? Well, actually, it's not going to let me scroll that far down. I was in 821st place. How many teams did we have? So we had 1,200 this week. Also, let me know. Some people made some comments, and I agree with the payout structure being a little weird. Just 4th through 10th all being the same price. I'm going to try to get that fixed. If you guys have any recommendations on the payout structure that you would like, I generally like the it being a little top heavier, just making sure that first and second place are getting a nice prize. I like that 2,000, 1,000. But if you guys have any other suggestions here as far as the payout structure, let me know. But I'm going to try to get this a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, scaled in a way, as opposed to just lumping 4th place and 10th place getting the same. That definitely seems weird. So I apologize about that. I will make sure to get that fixed. All right, let's head over to Underdog now so we can cover some ground in the Battle Royale streets. I had a slightly better week than last week, which isn't hard to do since last week was just an absolute bloodbath. I would call this week for me on Underdog, like a sprinkling of snow, a light dusting if you will. I did end up maxing the Battle Royale, ended up getting $470 back, which I think is what, about a third of my money, a little over that. We can look at some teams there. Eked out a min cash into Bomb, which was nice considering I had 2 CJ Stroud and 2 Jordan Love teams in there. But yeah, just didn't get home, and it was frustrating because my gems were dialed in last week. We had quarterback Bo Nix smash, although Jalen Hurts going nuclear kind of mitigated the benefit of needing the scroll down quarterback. Lad went nuclear, was a huge piece there. We also had Jonathan Taylor, who was fine as a 6th round guy, but just couldn't keep up with some of the higher scoring guys like Jacobs and Achane in Mixon. We had Tank Dell, who scored the touchdown, but wasn't sniffing any optimal lineups. But then Kyle Pitts went nuts there as well. So Bo Nix, Lad, and Pitts ended up being a really nice crew. And I think my best lineup was one that I had built on stream for the Deposit Kingdom video. So this was one, I basically, if you guys aren't familiar with those videos, make sure you're subscribed over there. I do basically the gems, one at each position and a bonus. And then I give 3 draft ideas. And the third draft idea for this week was the wide receiver tight end double scroll at the end, where you finish the draft with Lad and Kyle Pitts. So the best team I had at Battle Royale was drafted on that video. It was Tua, Mixon, Achane, Tyreek, Lad, and Kyle Pitts. And so frustrating to throw away this gem lineup with Tua and Tyreek. You know, if this is Hurts and Devonta Smith, I'm pretty sure I'm $50,000 richer. If I just go the other way in that 2v2, I win all the money. But yeah, that Lad Kyle Pitts combo there was cooking. Let's see what took down first place in Battle Royale. It was a lineup you were going to see, or at least the core pieces, a ton. Hurts to Devonta Smith with the Jamar Chase bring back. You have Mixon and Achane at running back, and then Cade Otton at tight end. I'm going to guess was the differentiator. I'm going to guess there was a ton of Travis Kelce here at the top. Yeah, 2nd place Kelce, 3rd Kelce, 4th Kyle Pitts. But even Cade Otton outscoring Kyle Pitts ends up being kind of the separator here at the high end. But, you know, I was talking about how your success in the Battle Royale was going to be driven a good bit just by your draft slot, right? Like you had to avoid the Breece Hall, the Barkley, the Tyreek Hill, and you really wanted to live at that 6-7 turn with Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon. This drafter took Jamar Chase at 4, and then Joe Mixon there at 9. I guess I shouldn't say 6-7 turn because Jamar Chase was more regularly going at ADP of 3 or 4. But you get Jamar Chase and then you come back and you get Joe Mixon sliding. That was definitely the dominant combo. Then this drafter comes back. Let's see. They select Hurts at 33, Devonta at 21, Achane at 16. So they go Chase, then Mixon, then they go Achane and Devonta. Then they grab a sliding Hurts in the 5th round past ADP, and then finish it off with a one-off tight end, Cade Otton. And it is a bummer because Cade Otton's sitting there, tight end 5, again, falling in that exact same range that Njoku did last week, where even if you were scrolling for, you know, Kyle Pitts, you didn't get paid off as much as you would if the tight end 5 didn't smash. So no real scroll down gems in this lineup. This was hitting on the right combo. But what you'll notice then is they had to be perfect in basically every spot. And there ended up being a ton of teams up here with very similar combinations. Another Hurts, Chase Smith. I mean, how many of these teams are Hurts, Chase Smith? Okay, here's finally Hurts to AJ Brown and Lad. So this team ships if they have Devonta Smith instead of AJ Brown. But it goes to show you of how, like, at the top, if there's so few of the round 1 players that hit, it's nearly impossible to avoid this landmine, because you're taking Joe Mixon in round 2 at the 6-7 turn. You're taking one of these guys who are there. You know, you're not scrolling past all of these guys to take Devonta Smith at pick 6. So there is a bit of randomness luck to your draft slots and the combos you're getting, which is why it is important to mix these combos up at the top. But yeah, definitely frustrating when your first round pick is the lowest scoring player in your lineup. Trying to see if we have any names we recognize at the top up here. I don't recognize anyone. Let me know in the chat if you guys, there's Crash Rich, if you guys had a lineup at the top of the leaderboard. Why am I just saying this? Did I catch Sweetie dancing at San Diego State University? First of all, I didn't go to San Diego State. Second of all, I did not catch Sweetie dancing. This must be some viral clip I missed. Am I just setting ranks for BR and auto drafting to max? No, I am not auto drafting. I auto draft sometimes some of the Wildcats, the $3, just to mess around, like batches of 5 or 10. But I manually draft all of my battle royales. I don't think I'll say this. So we talked about this on Lulz on Thursday. And Nerdy Tenor's been running like his sims and looking at optimal rates for stacking on slates. Generally, the optimal rate for single stacks and double stacks is pretty high, being like most of the time you should be stacking your quarterback. The way the slate dynamic shook out for week 8, his sims actually showed naked quarterback as optimal. I think it was like close to 45%. You can go back and watch Lulz. We put the numbers on screen. So in that scenario, I actually think autoing would have been far more viable, because what you would have done is you would have inched Jalen Hurts up your ranks. You would have inched Bo Nix. You would have inched Anthony Richardson, the naked quarterbacks that don't require any stacking to get there. And then you could auto and you'd be sacrificing less than you normally would, because it was a specifically good slate for naked quarterback and therefore a specifically good slate for autoing. So in that unique instance, I actually think autoing in week 8 would have been more viable than usual. But in general, one, I enjoy drafting these teams, and two, I'm going out of my way to get specific exposures. And yes, I could shuffle up my ranks and reload them and do another batch, but I want to make sure that I'm getting those correlations I want. I want to make sure that I'm, getting my RNG right for, okay, this is a Lad scroll down team. This is a Kyle Pitts scroll down team, making sure I'm mixing up my combos there. Whereas when you also set your own ranks, like depending on how aggressive you are on some of the stands you want to make, you could end up with 100% of those guys. Like for instance, I had Jahmyr Gibbs ranked fairly high in that I was going to be getting him in the 3rd round of most of my drafts if I weren't manually scrolling down to some other guys. Oh, let me grab a little A-Chan here. Let me grab a Josh Jacobs here. So I think autoing can be really tricky from an exposure balancing perspective. But depending on the contest, obviously depending on your time, depending on how the slate is shaking out, I think the pendulum could swing in a direction of making it more viable. But I like drafting NFL teams. It's fun. And I don't feel like this was only my 2nd week that I've maxed BR all year. So I don't feel compelled to max. Like if I don't have the time to draft them, I'm not going to force it. But I did have time. And, one of the other angles, the reason I did end up maxing is on Sunday morning, I had 0 Jaden Daniels in Battle Royale. And I probably wasn't alone in that regard. A lot of people assumed he wasn't going to play. And then we get the news on Saturday night, game time decision. You start to read the tea leaves. Things are trending in the right direction. And we wake up on Monday morning or Sunday morning, and now it's really starting to look like Jaden Daniels is going to play. And this becomes a jam of all jam spots, right? Like I make the Friday video. If I had made the Deposit Kingdom video on Sunday morning, Jaden Daniels would have been the cover boy, because we all of a sudden have a quarterback who can break the slate and finish as the #1 quarterback who is getting drafted less than 2 or 3% of the time. I believe his ADP was like 35.6. I don't know exactly what it closed at, but that becomes a shove your chips all in spot. So my last 20 Battle Royale drafts, I don't even think I was going to get to them, but I was like, I need to catch up on Jaden Daniels. So I ripped 20 drafts. I starred Jaden Daniels in every single one, and then, was mixing and matching and drafting those, but making sure I was getting as much Jaden Daniels as I could. So that was another thing of like, if you feel you have a unique angle or a new angle that pops up, you want to go and attack that. And that's why the Battle Royale dynamics are really fun for that relative to DraftKings, right? Where it's like, okay, not that Jaden Daniels was ever going to get steamed on DraftKings because of his price, but it's like everyone has time to process that information. They still have, 90 minutes until lineups lock. But with drafts, like the majority of the contest has already been drafted. Like there's a big edge of being able to go and flex an information advantage that the rest of the field doesn't have. So that was a unique spot. We don't get a lot of those, but I think it's a good reminder to continue to attack those Q tags, 4-star players. I had a decent amount of Jonathan Taylor. He was in the gem video, didn't quite break the slate. I think he had 18 points, but still a solid performance from him. That was a spot I really wanted to push. It was a few weeks ago when Joe Mixon returned from injury where people didn't want him coming off of the Q tag or whatever, and he was a smash. So I think leaning into that uncertainty with the Q tags, with the guys who, haven't been practicing throughout the week, remains one of the bigger edges in Battle Royale. This is a good question. I believe Battle Royale slightly overlaid. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. 55,992. Yeah, I think, we only finished at 84%, it looks like. So, that is a bummer because it means it's going to be smaller this week, I believe. Is it actually in the lobby already? Where is it? Why am I not seeing it? Is Battle Royale not up? Am I going crazy? Let me refresh. I don't see it. There it is. Battle Royale up. So it is smaller this week, 40,000 to first instead of 50,000. It could be worse as far as the prize pool going back down to, it was 30,000 to start the season. Then Numi and Hope boosted it up to 50K, which was fun. But I get, when it doesn't fill, it ends up having to come down. And we're now dealing with hoops, drawing a lot of attention and impacting fill rates throughout the week, having so many of those slates. So let's make sure we fill the Battle Royale this week and keep this prize pool great, because it is really fun to be able to compete for a $50,000 top prize there. Let's go look at a few other lineups here. I want to check out the Deposit Kingdom contest. And I need a little more coffee here. I think I have enough for one more pour. Yeah, the $7, I don't think the price point is what's impacting the fill rate. I do really think it's hoops. And, as the season progresses, people lose, people stop, playing. Like those dynamics are at play. I think the $7 price point is perfect as far as as a maxer, you don't really blink twice, $5 versus $7. If you're only playing a couple lineups, do you really blink twice at 5 or 7? So I think it's a pretty elegant solution as far as that price point to get the bigger prize pool. But we got to fill it. 84% ain't going to cut it. All right, let's check out Deposit Kingdom League here. Our first place team, I believe Ty tagged me on Twitter here, had an awesome Hurts to AJ Brown team, had a Devonta Smith swap. So I assume drafted this closer to when the contest opened because they selected T. Higgins. This dropped Friday at 3. I want to say things were already kind of starting to look a little sketch for T. Higgins on Friday, but takes T. Higgins there, gets the swap. What a convenient swap too, right? To have Jalen Hurts, now I'm looking at my team. Sorry. To have Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, you swap to get the double stack there. You have Mixon, you have Achane, you have Travis Kelce. Devonta Smith ended up, what did his ADP close at? Was his ADP like 33, 34? Someone refresh my memory. Maybe I can find him on a team that wasn't swapped to see. Let's see here. ADP of 34.4. So was not getting drafted a good chunk of the time. Ended up being a solid scroll option there. And then obviously you get paired with Jalen Hurts, who scores 3 touchdowns. You are going to be cooking there. So congratulations, Ty. nice lineup there. Love getting that swap to win you a tournament. We had Adam here in second place. Adam as in ATOM. Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown, Brian Thomas, Kyle Pitts, Jahmyr Gibbs, Achane. Man, the Gibbs score, every time I see it, I think I had like 20 or 30, 35% Gibbs. So the fact that he couldn't eclipse some of these other guys is frustrating. But Kyle Pitts, as the scroll down tight end here, ends up being the difference maker to get you up into second place here. That's Knock had a Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown. Marvin Harrison, again, kind of in that same range as Devonta Smith as far as ADP, ADP of 35.3. He ends up dropping 20 points there. So you get a little Achane, Marvin Harrison mini correlation. And then David Njoku, even as the tight end 3, 14.6 points, that's not going to cut it in the big BR, with 50,000 entries. But in the Deposit Kingdom, where we only have 1,600 entries, you can survive a solid but not great score there from a couple positions. Oh, nice. I didn't even notice this, or I think I saw that on Twitter. Fantasy Dog Pound finished in 4th place here as well. Had the Jonathan Taylor play. Jonathan Taylor had the Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown with Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, and Josh Jacobs. Jacobs, another really strong pick, obviously goes for 25 points there. Nice team from Fantasy Dog Pound. The one team I had in here that cashed was a Hurts, Amon-Ra, or a naked Hurts team. This might have been the team. No, did I draft this one on Off and On the Clock? We drafted one of my teams on Off and On the Clock. I can't remember if it was this one. You can see here it had Gibbs and Mixon, had Amon-Ra. That correlation, of course, had Tank Dell and Evan Ingram. Yeah, I had lots of Amon-Ra. I had lots of Gibbs. I had lots of Tank Dell, lots of Evan Ingram. Those scores just not going to cut it there, which is frustrating, right? Like one of the things that, a dynamic that plays out in these contests is you still got to get all the pieces together in the right lineup. Like yesterday was a really good day for my scroll down gems, JT, Pitts, Ladd, Bo Nix. But then it was a really bad week for my early round guys. A decent amount of Amon-Ra, lots of Tyreek Hill. And it's like, you can mash those guys up and it's not going to matter if you haven't avoided some of those early round landmines. So I don't have too many regrets about how I played yesterday. Maybe if I have one regret in DeBomb and in the fullback dive, I really, I think I have a leak of enjoying the double stacks in those contests a little too much. I did have an aggressive rank on Jalen Hurts. I was getting a lot more of him in the other contests. I've just been leaning into the double stacks in fullback dive and DeBomb. And the one team that I had cash in DeBomb was obviously one of my non-Stroud love double stacks. It was a Jalen Hurts, Barkley, and AJ Brown team there. So I think this was a team where I was able to get Barkley at 6 and then AJ Brown at 7. And so then just leaned into that with a big Eagles bet, grabbed Achane, Ingram, and Xavier Worthy for a little scroll there at wide receiver at the end. So that team gets 300 fully loaded, takes it down with a Hurts, Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase. So you could really do a lot of different things at tight end in the small field yesterday, but you really needed at least one of Mixon or Achane. You had to have Hurts. You really needed Chase and Devonta Smith. And it's funny, right? Because it's not like Jamar Chase goes nuts. There were plenty of wide receivers who scored more of him. He was just the best of those early round wide receivers. If you had Jamar Chase, it meant you didn't have Tyreek Hill. It meant you didn't have Amon-Ra St. Brown in a lot of instances. So that's the other thing to realize. It's not sometimes about who you take, but who you don't take. Yeah, exactly. And this is the power of correlation in a nutshell. Just me says it's pretty funny how neither Brown nor Smith were actually needed, but the double still crushed. I was right there with you, Steven. I can show you my high-end exposures here for my teams. Travis Kelce, this is the other thing that hurt me. I had a ton of Dobbins. He was one of those guys in like round 4 that I was clicking a ton. Had a ton of Brees, a ton of Gibbs, a ton of Drake London, another guy who sunk me. So my high-end exposures, Brock, Tank, like it is a miracle that I didn't get more dusted yesterday. It speaks to my gems booing me to more min cashes here because my high-end guys, you know, my over 20% were basically all whiffs. I mean, Kelsey smashed, so that certainly helped. 32% Kelsey. Dobbins not going to cut it. Hall not going to cut it. Gibbs could buoy min cashes. London whiff. Bowers whiff. Tank whiff. Ingram relative to other tight ends whiff. Tyreek Hill whiff. I mean, I'm looking at these numbers. It is insane that I didn't lose everything yesterday because I just basically missed all of the good players at the top of the pool. All right. I think that's about it. Oh, Dawg Bowl Qualifier. I got to give a shout out. So DFS King, there's a few interesting things with the Dawg Bowl this week. So first off, DFS King here wins. Well, we have 3 winners. Well, 2.5. I'll explain that in a second. But DFS King tagged me on Twitter. They won the Dawg Bowl with the Lad McConkey scroll down pick. And he was watching the Deposit Kingdom video while drafting this team. He only drafted 2 teams. He posted a screenshot right after the draft finished, where you could see his little YouTube video up here watching the gems. So watching the video, gets to the Lad portion, says, you know what? Yeah, I do like the Lad call. Drafts Lad, only 2 bullets, and DFS King is going to Dallas on a really nice team here. Hurts to AJ Brown, Cedric Tillman, Lad, Cade Otton, and DeAndre Swift. So incredible stuff. And yeah, it's nice on a week where I didn't do well in Battle Royale to see some of those picks and those gems hitting. So as always, I will make the same plea. There's always way more people watching and subscribing to this channel than the Deposit Kingdom channel. I do weekly videos over there. They drop Friday afternoons, generally around 4:30 or so. And I think we've been cooking, guys. We've been cooking over there. The gems have been on point for the most part. The evergreen strategy sessions, if you guys are maybe more here for salary cap stuff and are interested in diving in, I've been doing an evergreen strategy section in every one of those videos, and they're all timestamped and all in the playlist. So if you want to go back, you can skip easily the gems for that specific week since that's non-evergreen. And I put the timestamp at the top of the description. You can jump there. And I think it's a pretty good educational, library there as far as kind of getting you in the mindset for how to draft these teams. So had to give a little plug there, and congratulations to DFS King. Dan here punches the second ticket. And now notice the third angle here. We had a tie for third place in the Dawg Bowl. So Crutches, you guys know Crutches in the Deposit Kingdom. It's been on a few shows around here. High volume underdog player, 132.86. And then same with Hot Sauce here as well. Another Deposit Kingdom guy. I know he's in the Ship Chasing Discord, hangs out in the Badge Bros channels. Same team, same duped team. Jalen Hurts, David Montgomery, James Cook, Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Kyle Pitts. 132.86. So what do? There's only 3 tickets. So it seems what has happened is they've split the prize, the initial 10K, but they have to do a one-off head-to-head this week to determine who gets the actual seat to go compete in Dallas. So these guys are going to do a head-to-head 2-person draft on Underdog. I don't know if they finalized the details on when this is going to be. I'm definitely down to help live stream it or be a part of doing some content since it's just this weird, bizarro thing of a runoff head-to-head. But the winner of that head-to-head, whoever scores the most points in week 9, will then win the seat to the Dawg Bowl. So yes, I am down depending on how like the scheduling and stuff works out. I think I heard that they were maybe thinking about doing it on Friday. Crutches, I don't know if you have any more info on that, or Hot Sauce. Yeah, election season runoff. But yeah, just keep me posted. We definitely, whether it's off and on the clock on Friday or DFS After Dark on Saturday, we can do it. I actually already booked DFS After Dark for Saturday, but he would be down to be a part of this as well. I'm having Dave on, another really good underdog drafter. He already won a Dawg Bowl seat, so he's coming on Saturday. And yeah, if you guys are drafting that, keep me in the loop, and we'll try to organize that. And we could stream that for the people. All right, but there, see both of our third place guys in the chat here. I'm around. We can make something happen. All right, my people will talk to your people, who will talk to Numi's people, who will talk to my people, and we'll make that happen. But yeah, congratulations to you guys. And man, what was it? Was it the lad? I think, yeah, it must have been that last lad TD that jumped them, because I believe you two were hanging out, chilling with a dupe team that were both going to get tickets, and then lad came storming down. So I guess you guys can be pissed at me for talking about lad in the video and DFS King watching that. So maybe you don't want to come do it with me. Pete having a weekly show where best balls go head to head would be amazing. Yeah, the only issue for it is we're gonna have to build up some drama to it, because the actual draft itself is going to take like 2 minutes, if that. It's just 6 rounds, 2 people, 12 total picks, just going ping, 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 ping. So we're gonna have to ask you guys. You're gonna have to bleed the clocks, slow roll it, build some drama. Let us talk about the picks. It's funny because I did. So you can do those drafts on Underdog. And when I do cash game bit week, John and I did a head-to-head last year. It must have been on Off and On the Clock. I mean, Warner's sleeping right now, so I don't know if he can remember that. But I'm pretty sure on stream we did a head-to-head battle in one of those contests. And it is kind of fun because there's obviously, interesting angles with positional scarcity for the onesies specifically, like how you attack the quarterback, how you attack the tight end stuff. With only one of those guys getting drafted. So yeah, I can't wait to see how that plays out. And I love to, I know crutches and you guys play everything, but the fact that you have to spend a lot of this week thinking about head-to-head Underdog battle royale strategy is just beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, I'll give you the cash game shell early for sure. One thing that happened or helped buoy the day yesterday is we hit one of our pick'ems. This one was from the Cram. It was National Tight End Day. So what did we have to do on the Cram? We had to do a David Njoku. The chat was screaming at me to include Laporta. I said, okay, we'll do it. We'll put Laporta in a pick'em. So we did Njoku, who I loved. I think it was 1.77 on his touchdown. Laporta was similar, I want to say, and then Travis Kelce. So that one hit there. A nice little win there as far as paying for all of the pick'ems yesterday. We had a few that were close. We did another one, Laporta and McBride. McBride has a monster day but doesn't get in the end zone. We had one on Off and On the Clock where we had Tank Dell and Xavier Worthy. Drake London doesn't get in. We had one that our core on Off and On the Clock was just one off. J.K. Dobbins, that was mine, needed 21 more yards. We had another one too from a tight end themed one from Off and On the Clock where we got Pitts and Njoku right, and then Taysom Hill. That would have been a monster hit if we could have gotten that one. So had fun with some pick'ems yesterday, and always nice to get a win in there. We always do those obviously on Off and On the Clock and on the Cram as well. All right. Some best ball stuff. We can take a look at best ball. Actually, BBMDB is the better way to go for this. I think my advance rate is slightly down after this week. Yeah, I had been around 16%, right around average, down to advancing 20 out of 150 here for 13.3%. This is the same team that's been up here at the top for me every week. I always remember because it's the Chase Brown and Zach Moss. Nice to see Chase Brown get in the end zone on International Play Your Identical Twin Day. If you guys missed that, his identical twin plays for the Eagles, and he got on the end zone there. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything interesting on the best ball front. We can always go and look at my exposures to see what's stock up and stock down. Zach Charbonnet had a touchdown. We'll see how Malik Nabers does tonight. It's been a while since we've gotten a monster game from Malik Nabers. There is Chase Brown. Brock Bowers, muted day yesterday, so that's going to hurt. Rico Dowdle calls in sick. Jonathan Brooks calling in sick for the entire season. Zay Flowers, good day. Troy Franklin dropping bombs. Yeah, so pretty bad day actually for my top exposures up here. George Kittle at 15%. That's nice. Kyle Pitts at 14%. That's nice. Let's get Nico Collins back, please. But yeah, not surprising that I lost some of my advancing teams, although I think a 20-point game from Malik Nabers tonight would certainly help out. Let's see. I will say, I'd probably hold off on doing a lot more best ball stuff. Liam invited me on to his podcast today, so I'm sure we'll talk some best ball stuff there. I think it's just going to be 45 minutes of me sitting there and him victory lapping his Dalton Kincaid, 40 yards and a touchdown. So I'm not sure exactly what we have in store for that show, but we'll probably do more best ball talk over there. I believe all my eliminators are now done. Let me see. Where are my eliminators? Oh, do I have one team? No, my eliminator ass team is still advancing. So I only did a few of the regular eliminators. I did the big elims. I lost all my big elims, but my eliminator ass team is still advancing. It was a close call last week. Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Minshew, Rashad White, Ramondre, Zach Moss, Zeke, and Gibson. Man, how are these running backs keeping me alive? Because it's an eliminator-ass team. Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Devonta Smith. Ooh, that helped Devontae. Christian Kirk done for the season. He's been eliminated from this lineup. Chris Godwin done for the season. All right, I don't want to look at this lineup anymore. Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin, this team is done. Just eliminated already. Let's see if I'm advancing any sprint teams. That has been probably like the saddest part of my portfolio is my sprint portfolio. I have 20 entries and not a single one advancing. Unreal. I suck at the sprint. All right, let's head over and check out some Guillotine sweats here. The Deposit Kingdom League. It looks like we're actually going to have a little sweat tonight. I got producer Mark in the hopper here. It looks like he's on the chopping block. Has what, an 8-point lead on Chad here. And who does Mark have to go? Just has Freiermuth, who has 8 points in Freiermuth, but Chad has Najee Harris. So that is going to be a close one. When you look at projected points here, it looks like Mark also has another out by just having Pat Freiermuth score more than 7 points. And then he would jump Dan, who's here in second to last place with 100 points, but has no one left to go. So yeah, a couple different ways for this to play out with the Deposit Kingdom Guillotine League. If you guys are new here, we did do a Deposit Kingdom Guillotine League where each week a team gets the chop and the rest of their players are tossed into the player pool. I had an early exit thanks to my, Rashi Rice and Malik Nabers injuries, but we will continue to check in on these. I see our girl Steph here had an absolute demolition of a week. 187 points. Daniels, Achan, Gibbs, Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison, Lad, Olave, and Cade Otton. Incredible. I'm in my two other Guillotine leagues, and both of my teams there are pretty solid. Have some really good running backs. This is my maybe weaker of the two teams, but it has Kyron and Bijan. I'm going to have to do a little work on the waiver wire on this one. Would like to get a better quarterback. Geno and Aaron Rodgers right now. My first one, though, in this league that's with like JJ and Tom Everett Scott and them, I really like this one. I have Lamar, Barkley, Achan, Debo, Javonte Williams, Jordan Mason, although it's coming to an end for Jordan Mason. Picked up Cade Otton. Have a pretty good bench as well, Waddle, Keenan. So these eliminators are fun. It's such a tough balance of knowing when to get aggressive on the waiver wire and when to kind of coast and save some of that money. And I believe they still got, the rolling Guillotine leagues are in the lobby here at guillotineleagues.com. If you guys want to hop in and compete against some strangers for some cold, hard cash. All right, I'm ready to kind of turn the page from week 8, look to week 9 here, take a look at Monday Night Football. This week in Guillotine is brutal. Got a chance to score 100 and lose. Yeah. Do I have any CMC teams advancing in Best Ball Mania? That's a good question. I love bbmdb.com. I will admit I am not one of the people who spend a ton of time looking for random stuff on here. I've been doing it way more for the Battle Royales now that Patrick added functionality for that. Let's see. No, 0 of 12. 0 of 12 CMC teams. It looks like we have a few hovering here. Still a decent amount of points back, 58, 55. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it'd definitely be fun. This team has Brandon Ayuk. That's the problem too, is like you'll run into these spots where it's like my CMC teams probably have a decent amount of Ayuk. I guess not all of them. I guess it would have been taking CMC in round 1 and then Ayuk in round 3. I wasn't necessarily forcing that. This one looks like it could do a little bit of catch up here. You get Lamar, got Andrews and Bowers. That's looking better. CMC, Pollard, Corum, Dobbins, Hill, Olave, Nabers, Deontay Johnson, Coleman, AD Mitchell, Leggett, Bateman, McMillan. So this one could charge a little bit. This one's 39 points back. Ooh, this was one of my few robust RB starts. I did not do a ton of these, but CMC, Achane, Ken Walker there also has Nico, T, Godwin. God, man, anytime you see one of those dead players, man, Godwin and Shaheed. So yeah, this one's toast as well. See, this is why I don't want to look at my best ball teams, because it's like the second you get excited about something and it's gonna be like, oh, there's Rashee Rice, there's Chris Godwin, there's Rashid Shaheed. Peep the fastest draft. All right, we'll peep the fastest draft, and then we will move on here. Do I have this one named? Yes, world's fastest slow draft. Okay, I'm in 4th here. What am I checking out, Star Kindler? You hanging out in 3rd. We got DeMoney, who I believe didn't DeMoney win last year. I always forget. I'm pretty sure DeMoney won last year. The world's fastest slow draft. This one's truly not about winning. It's about the records we made along the way. That's what I'll say if I don't win. If I do win, it was all about winning. All right, let's do a little Monday Night Football here. We can build a pick 'em, do a primetime Palooza draft, all that good stuff. Weekly winners. So someone in the Discord, thank you for this reminder. Someone in the Discord said they had a weekly winner sweat. Let's see if I can see their name. What do we remember? What the username? Who was that in the Hand Builders channel? I'm gonna go find it because I want to see what their team is. It was Mark 053000. Said he had Wan'Dale Robinson going tonight. I'm not sure what their username is on here. If you're in the chat, Mark, let me know. It looks like I have a team in 217th place. This is like the highest I've been up in weekly winners. Okay, thank you. There's no primetime Palooza. We'll just do a pick 'em then. Do I have anything going tonight on this lineup? Baker, Bryce, Carr, Jacobs, Mixon, Connor, Pollard, Zeke, CD, Shakir, Olave, Worthy, Judy, Samuel Evans, Cade Otton, Cole Kmet, Jatavian Sanders. So no, this team's done for tonight. Charlie's in 8th in weekly winners. Oh yeah, there you are. Do you got anything going tonight? Nix, Prescott, Levis, Cook, Achane, Mixon, Dowdle, Ford. Yeah, Lamb. You definitely needed Lamb this week. Downs, Olave, Sutton, Franklin, Lockett, Brooks, McBride, Chig. So nothing going tonight. The thing that's going to be so sick about if I ever have a weekly's winner sweat is I'm not going to know. I'm going to forget. I always forget to go click this button to see, like your other stuff, it defaults to showing you the big board for some reason. And then you have to like click down on these other ones. I always forget to click down. If I ever win weekly winners, it's going to be because someone reminds me. They're like, oh, Pete, you have a team in the top 10. And I'll be like, thanks for that reminder. All right. So I was just alerted to the fact there is no primetime Palooza for Monday and Thursday. So we can just head to the pick 'em streets here. Reminder, as always, we got ADP chasing today at 11:45 a.m. Eastern with Davis, Sam Sherman, and Karain. I believe today they are continuing their series that they started last week of kind of re-ranking rookies rest of season. Last week, they did all the pass catchers with Jacob Sanderson. It was fun listening to those guys hash out their ranks. And then today they're going to do quarterbacks and running backs just for rookies only. So tune into that at 11:45 a.m. Eastern. And we will go to the Pick'em lobby now. Let's head over to the Fantasy Life Pick'em entry. I always like using this to get some ideas flowing. You guys always have some good ideas. Let me know if there's anything jumping out to you tonight. Looks like we do have a rescue special tonight. What do we got here? So Russell Wilson higher than 0.5 yards. We're going to toss that in there. All right. Looking at this game, Daniel Jones, lower sacks taken. Interesting. Man, that feels scary against the Steelers pass rush. Set at 3.5. Fantasy Life has it at 1.9. Russell Wilson, lower sacks taken. Also, okay, so lower night for sacks taken. Russell Wilson, lower interceptions. Don't mind that. Russell, generally pretty good at not turning the ball over. Wan'Dale Robinson, higher rushing yards. Wow, we have some of the real micro edges bubbling to the top here. Nabers, higher receiving yards. We got a bullish projection on him, 81.8 versus 67.5. Darius Slayton, Jalen Warren, Calvin Austin, hires there. I think the ETR stuff liked Jalen Warren a good bit this week as well. Let's see here. I'm going to see some of your ideas. JGFC likes Wan'Dale receptions or Nabers targets. Nabers 6.5. What's Nabers targets? 11 targets. It's definitely a lot of targets. Coming off 12, 15, and 8. I don't hate that. Let's see. And then you like the Wan'Dale receptions. 4.5 receptions. Yeah, Wan'Dale he's cleared that every single game so far this year. I want to look at the, I always like looking at the RotoViz pass up or matchup rater. I was mad I didn't listen to this. So the RotoViz matchup rater, it uses a ton of stuff of looking specifically at like alignment stuff. So really finding out where teams are giving up more wide receivers or more points to wide receivers in specific areas of the field. And it had a real, like, I should not have ignored this one. It had a really high score for both Nick Westbrook, Akine, and Calvin Ridley. Also liked the Green Bay stuff that got nuked. But let's look at just this game tonight and see which of these pass catchers have more favorable alignment. So yeah, it does really like the Wan'Dale one, giving him a very strong rating, even relative to Nabers. So yeah, let's do that Wan'Dale receptions. I think that's a good call. I guess we are getting juiced a little to the lower at 0.9, but we can live with that. Tight end Pick'em, Freiermuth smash yards, Theo Johnson 1.5 receptions. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, how's Freiermuth been? What were his splits? I want to go to also look at the utilization report. Let's check out how these tight ends have been doing. I want to see what Freiermuth's work was like last week. I actually kind of like this call too on the Wan'Dale if we bring it up one catch to 5.5. So Freiermuth last week saw a slight jump in routes from previous up to 81%, but the targets were a little low. He has just not been a big part of the offense. Actually seemed like more involved with Fields than he was with Russ, I realize small sample size there, only 2 targets. And they are using Darnell Washington a little bit. You see this? Darnell Washington, super high targets per route run. When Darnell Washington's on the field, some more targets. So I feel like that's a little bit of a buzzkill. And they are using Connor Hayward some. Man, even Mikael Pruitt was out there. I don't know. I don't know if I can get sold on the Freiermuth stuff today. Let's see how Theo looked. So the 2 previous games, Theo had some nice games. He's still running a ton of routes. Actually had his highest routes of the season at 88%. Just didn't earn any targets. It was Daniel Bellinger who got a couple targets last week. Yeah, I guess the Theo stuff seems fine. Let's see here. Boswell over 1.5. I always like it when someone has a kicker whisper angle. Is Nez in the chat? Nez, how do you feel? Like Nez, this is right up Nez's alley. 1 Steelers and 2 kicker whispering. Another 0.9 there. Yeah, I do. 2. I almost like 2 extra points made. Like the Steelers are scoring 2 touchdowns tonight, aren't they? I guess that's only 0.77. What do we think? Stall out in the red zone? What has he been at? He was 1, 4, and then 3. Tonight feels like a 6 field goal game. I don't mind that Boswell angle. Yeah. What is this up to? This is just a 4.8x. I think this is what we do. And I normally try not to do these because, you know, it makes it harder to share them. I don't know why on desktop we can't do the sliders yet. I want to slide the Wan'Dale receptions up. I think when you combine that he's been over this multiple times, twice in the past week, and he has an especially good matchup per the matchup rater, I want to take this up to 5.5 receptions. So I'm going to build this on my phone, and then I can post it. I'll see if I can get it in the chat here. So we'll do that Boswell, and then we're going to do the Wan'Dale, and we are going to take it from 4.5 receptions up to 5.5 for a 1.39. And then that gets this to a 7.5x with using the Russell Wilson special. So I like this. Russell Wilson, we use that special higher than 0.5 yards. Do you guys have that one? I know sometimes it's like, oh, I don't see that one, but hopefully you guys have that. Chris Boswell, 1.5 field goals. Wan'Dale Robinson, 5.5 receptions. It is going to max us, though, on this one. It's a max of 10. So I'm going to have to play. Let's rebuild this too. You guys don't have the... Sorry. You know what? Oh, guys, sorry. This is why I had it. It's a rescue special I got. That's my bad. It was because last night I had a couple of pick'ems with Jordan Mason in it. I had a big touchdown one, and then this one here, Ferguson, Mason, and Brock, that hit, and the Jordan Mason was rescued. So that's my bad. I'll let me rebuild it for you guys, and let's get one more pick in here. So we'll use the Boswell, we'll boost the Wan'Dale, and what do we want for our third one here? Did anyone have another one? Singletary under 30.5 rush yards. Yeah, what's that split been like? I mean, I know Tracy's been a really big part of the backfield. I guess the thing that's tough with Singletary, right, is that how much was his limited snaps in week 7 due to a changing of the guard? Tyrone Tracy has been so good that we now need to give him a bigger role. And how much of it is just we're going to ease Devin Singletary back this game, and then we'll ramp him back up. But if this is his workload here of only getting, 5 rush attempts and you're in a negative game script, I don't hate that Singletary lower. Memphis likes Warren 2 catches. I actually don't mind that considering his projection. How many targets did he have? He had 3 targets last week. 2 receptions at even, and the fact that then you can push that. Yeah, so he's been at 3 and 2. I like that. It does feel like a push at worse. All right, so this is, let me build this again. Boswell 1.5. Wandell, take him to 5.5. And then we're going to do Warren. Warren at 6.65. Yeah, I think I just like the receptions there. So that gets us, yeah, that's a 7.5x on that one. All right, we're going a little bigger on this one. I like this one. All right, I'm going to try to drop this link in the chat. Now, I'm actually going to do the boomer thing. I'm going to email this to myself and then drop the link in the chat. That's a big boomer move right there. All right, where is it? All right, here we go. All right, here's the link. Dropping it in the chat if you guys want to sweat this out with me tonight. I like these calls. It's a cheeky one, you know? You just need some Wandale, some Jalen Warren, some Chris Boswell field goals. Feels like the appropriate way to sweat this game tonight. We could do we want to do could build a let's check the rivals too. I always like looking at the rivals for the island games. Passing yards, completions, fantasy points. So one, I have this problem sometimes on mobile. There's a few different workarounds. My workaround is copy the link and then just paste it in the browser on your phone. When you click the link directly from YouTube, you get the app store. But if you take the link and just hard press and copy it and go to your browser and press paste, then that generally works for me. All right, we got historical anomalies, dishing some fire here in the chat. Dexter Lawrence, 1.5 solo tackles is hit every game, but multiplier 0.86. Okay. Maybe we get a touchdown one on here. Who's scoring a touchdown tonight? Who's scoring a touchdown? You guys all want to do the tight end angle? I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Freiermuth in the utilization, guys. It doesn't look great right now. So Najee's 1.09, Freiermuth's 2.33. I kind of like the Jalen Warren at 1.92. Like if we're going to play that angle, what's Pickens at? Pickens is at 1.34. That's not bad. What's Nabers at? Nabers is at 1.52. Nabers feels kind of like the sweet spot. Yeah, the 1.09 touchdown there doesn't make it move for me. I'm on board with Pickens or Nabers. You guys like Pickens more than Nabers? Honestly, what is the Washington one at? I'm not going to do it, but I would rather do Washington at 6.4 than Freiermuth at 2.3, I think. All right, seems like you guys like Pickens. We could do I kind of like the Nabers. Why don't we do this? We do the Lawrence, Pickens, Nabers. So this is kind of like the speed up the game one. The passing games are having some success. That's a 10x there. We could just, should we get this up to, should we put the little Nabers in here? Maybe we just make this the 5 leg with the other ones. If we do the Wandell and the Warren, we keep a little core and then we really expand it with the spice. This gets us to a 31. Sure. Why not? Chat, you guys really want Theo. All right, I'm gonna build one that's just what the chat wants without me overruling it. You guys love Pickens. There's the Pickens TD. You guys love Theo. Go ahead, this is the crowdsourced chat one. You guys want receptions or yards on Theo? Yeah, probably yards. He's a little bit of a seam stretcher guy there. All right, people like Darnell. But I don't know. I wish they would give us some yards here. I mean, that's a Darnell Washington tutty. That's a way to sink a pick 'em. Singletary under rush receiving. Yeah, someone did already mention that. The receiving's always a little dicey, but yeah, I guess, man, he hasn't. I kind of just like doing the rushing yards. I just feel like if they are in a huge negative game script there, let's just do rushing yards. Calvin Austin, longest play. What's that at? Longest reception, 12.5. Yeah, he's got a few bombs. Yeah, 2 receptions, 36 yards, 1 for 36. This is a dumb question. If he doesn't register a single completion, does that get removed from the pick'em? Does it drop? Because if there's not a reception to be the longest, does that make it ineligible? Because he's okay, so it's just offensive snap. So then zero receptions, you're saying, sinks that. I don't mind that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. He's been a big play merchant. And then I still love the Wandell stuff. Let's keep that as part of the core, and we'll do a 5 leg here. We'll just do the 4.5. We won't boost it because this is already a 24. All right, here's another crowdsource one. All right, good brainstorming session there. No primetime palooza. Let's wrap up with a little first look at the week 9 slate here. We will do my first and probably only Battle Royale draft until Friday. Singletary is going to get 50 yards because everyone is fading him. That's generally how this stuff goes. All right, we need 3 more people for the Battle Royale. Don't make me sit on this one. Everyone punt off $5 with me here for this early week Battle Royale. All right, let's look at the slate, what we're looking at here. Allen, Lamar, Hurts, Jaden, Burrow, Kirk, Kyler, Dak, Goff, Stafford, Geno, Winston, Caleb, Tua. Looks like a good quarterback slate. Tight end, Brock, McBride, Njoku, Pitts, Ferguson, Andrews, Ingram, Kincaid, Laporta, Taysom, Ertz. Likely decent slate there. Running back. Wow, Alvin Kamara going 101, or sorry, at least for running backs with that matchup against Carolina. Barkley versus Jacksonville is very enticing. Henry versus Denver. Kyron is always a lock for a tutty. Bijan Gibbs, Ken Walker sliding a little bit. Ken Walker's going to come up in the ranks again. That seems like an ADP to hit. Achane feels like he's going to move up a little bit. Wide receiver, Chase versus the Raiders, Lamb versus the Falcons, Tyreek, A.J. Brown, Puka. Man, Puka. Puka was a revelation on Thursday. I think his ADP comes up a little bit. There's some fun picks here. Drake London sliding after his disappointing game. Projections are still going to like him. DK Metcalf, our Q tag guy. T. Higgins, a Q tag guy. Yeah, I'm trying to think who should be the 101 on this slate. I'm not sure it should be Kamara. So much of, Kamara's stuff has come in the receiving game. If they're bulldozing, I guess they're probably not a team even capable of bulldozing anyone. Here I tried to talk myself out of Kamara, and now he falls to me at 5. I think my ideal here would be like Kamara and Tyreek. I'll just take Kamara. I also do really think Puka. Yeah, Puka goes. Can't blame that. I think he should probably be a 6-7 turn. But I do get Tyreek here. I like that. Kamara and Tyreek feels good. It's been nice to see Bijan really pick it up of late. The Barkley stuff is interesting. I feel like there's been kind of this war between the ADP and the projection. Like ETR has held really strong on giving a good chunk of the TD equity to Jalen Hurts because of the tush push, rightfully so. And that has kept Barkley down in projections. Not like anything crazy, but he's like more of a top 5, top 6 guy and not like a top 2 guy. And the field kind of always wants to play Barkley as a top 2 guy, but it's just going to be really hard for him to go supernova for as long as Jalen Hurts is getting all those tush pushes. So it's always interesting to see the ADP kind of wrestle with the projections on that one, because Barkley's always going to be higher than he's projecting. And Hurts is really always going to be a little higher than I think the field wants to take him, because people would prefer in their mind's eye to see those touchdowns coming through Barkley. All right, we are back up here. Let's see. I'm going to put Achane in the queue. I'm a little spooked on Cooper Kupp. Like, I did not like how things shook out for him. I don't mind buying the dip on London as well. But I think Achane is the play here. I will say, like, they rolled. I mean, Jalen Wright also getting some work is a little bit of a concern. Obviously, Mostert getting the goal line carries. But the workload is still really nice for Achane. Playing all of those third down snaps, 19% of the targets. In a split there with Mostert. Yeah, Jalen Wright actually didn't work in a ton. I just saw him a few times when I looked up on Red Zone. All right, yeah, I think you buy the London dip here. I'm just going to check him real quick too and just see if there was anything funky going on with his work. 97% of the routes, 20% targets per route run, 21% of the targets. So he's right where he has been. Just didn't get the end zone targets, which kind of kept him in check. So I think London is going to project slightly better than this. Did we compare Swolecast advance rates today? I did forget to do that. We'll save that for Overzet's overview on the Swolecast this week. Yeah, man, such a bummer. I haven't seen any. What was the initial thing on Love? It was a groin. I guess I didn't see any post-game injury updates. I guess we'll get one today. Puka's better than Kupp at this point. Yeah, I don't even think that's a hot take. I think it's just the truth. Yeah, with all due respect here to Kevin, Tyreek hasn't scored more than 21 in 5 games against the Bills and McDermott. He averages around 15 only. It's a scheme thing with how they defend the boundary. Yeah, I still think that's small sample noise. And when you have someone as talented as Tyreek and you have a scheme that's as smart as Mike McDaniel, they're good at getting their guys the ball in position to succeed. And Tyreek's one of those guys, they get him the ball in so many different places, right? It's not just the boundary. They're giving him end rounds. They're getting him looks over the middle within the splash zone and stuff. So I don't really worry about that stuff. And like, I think it'd be more of a conversation if we were talking about like Tyreek Hill 101 and you want to like get into it versus Chase and Lamb. But when we're talking here in the second round, I think you just bet on the superstar talent there, especially with how hard it has been to find ceiling at wide receiver lately. I'm going to keep betting on those alphas. So now we need to figure out our quarterback tight end plan. We could do 2 on this one, though I don't love that. So maybe we set up. Why don't we set up a stat? I mean, Njoku's been so good. Do we do Njoku Winston? Feel like that could be fun. Browns home versus the Chargers. I guess the Chargers could slow that game down with a decent bit of running. But yeah, let's do Winston. We could also do Cousins. What's the Cousins? So we could do Cousins versus Dallas. I don't mind that either. Let's do this first one. We'll do Cousins. We'll do Cousins with London. Achane and Tyreek together, 1 off Kamara, 1 off David Njoku. Chalk ass first BR team here, but we're just getting our sea legs, getting our feet under ourselves here. We got a Stafford to Puka team in the 6th. We got the Hurts to Devonta Smith from Mr. Bitcoin. We got Don going Josh Allen, naked. Oh, not naked, with James Cook. I like those quarterback, running back stacks. Jaden Daniels in the 5th round. That's probably too cheap. I was going to take Jaden if he fell to me at 29. Lamar Jackson. Let's see if, oh yeah, I won't be able to see the board. But there we go. Let's make sure we fill the Battle Royale this week so we keep this this prize up there. All right, I appreciate you guys. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe on the way out. And I completely missed this super chat earlier. Holy shit. Happy birthday, Tyler. The dreaded 30 thoughts and prayers, tips for running circles around your old friends. You know, the thing is, this is you're catching me at a really tough time for this question because I felt exhausted today. I've had like 3 straight nights of being up late, working on Fantasy Life newsletter, sweating hoops teams. So I'm feeling pretty washed. Get your sleep. Keep your drinking limited to just a couple nights a week. Always get in 1 little bit of exercise a day, even if it's just a walk, even if it's a little bit of yoga. And yeah, touch some grass, touch some ass. You know the drill, Tyler. Appreciate you as always. Happy birthday to one of the Deposit Kingdom legends, emo cowboy there. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week. ADP chasing kicking off here in 5 minutes. I believe I have the redirect set up, so you guys can just stay right here. You can head over to the Ship Chasing channel. Otherwise, I believe the next time I will see you. Oh, the next time I'll see you is today at 4. If you guys want to catch me on Liam's channel. All right. Peace, guys. Have a great Monday.